Hello students, welcome. I had to get my blocks. I sometimes forget that I have to still switch them back and forth between my yoga bag that goes with me to classes and the ones that stay at home. So thank you for your patience. Welcome to our new noon class here. By special request, we have a noon Tuesday classes now that is called Slow Flow or Hatha. So this is the style of class that I have taught in person. I actually was teaching this online in the first few months of our pandemic, and so we have brought it back. So it's fun to see a different kind of light coming into the windows at this time of day. I thank you for joining me. So perhaps you need this for a midday wake up rejuvenation, so I will keep that in mind in the level of movement that we'll do, or the breathing techniques that we'll do. So if you are new to our Sangha, our yoga community, I welcome you. I thank you for being here. My name is Annie, and I am from Eat Move Milwaukee. I thank the Milwaukee Rec Department for keeping us connected during this time and helping to bring this live feed to you. So a few notes before we begin. If you are new, and if you have never tried yoga before, I thank you for showing up today to try something different. And I encourage you to just go at your own pace. So if you have never, been on a yoga mat, used any props of any sort, just have patience with yourself as we move into this. So we'll start with something a little bit less complicated. I mean, most of you who, if you've been my student, you know that I don't do a lot of really power yoga or things like that, but we do add some creativity for sure. So if at any point you feel like it's too much and you just want to kind of take a breather and find an easy position in which to rest, by all means do that. This is your practice. So there are opportunities to modify always, whether you, excuse me. New phone system in my house, and I'm still working with how the ringers work. Okay, thank you for your patience. The beauty of teaching from our homes, we have these distractions perhaps that we have to notice and then work through. So modifications. If you want to go deeper and do more, challenge yourself more, or if you know a more full expression of a posture that you enjoy, please take yourself there. Please allow yourself that time to experience that if it's not something that I am straight up offering you. I do try to offer modifications for going deeper, and I also try to offer ways to dial it back. So depending where you are today, and I really emphasize noticing and honoring where you are today, please feel that out. There is an opportunity to bring ourselves to our edge in our regular yoga practice, and by that I mean that place where we feel a little bit of discomfort. It's out of our comfort zone, not a place of pain. I do not recommend moving into any pain in yoga. If you experience pain, please back off, change, stop, pause, breathe. But don't push yourself into any pain. That's not what this is about. But perhaps there's a place where you experience some discomfort, either in mind or body. And if that's a place that is pain-free, but like I say, maybe a little bit challenging, like, I'm stretching my muscles, farther than I have, or I'm breathing more deeply than I could, or, I didn't know if I could try this pose, but maybe today I'll try it. I encourage you to go there. It's a place that we can begin to experience change and growth if we bring ourselves there enough. It's a beautiful analogy in life. I would say it's one of the mantras that I have lived by that has helped me to change myself in many ways as a person. So remember that edge and visit that edge as often as you can, even if you take one breath or half a breath there. Challenge yourself. So that being said, I teach from a background in Shivananda style yoga, and some of the most important parts of Shivananda yoga are the pranayama, so that is the mindful breathing exercises. I will try to bring 3 or 4 of those to you with each practice. And those are tools that we can keep in our toolbox in case we have a moment of, oh, I really need to get centered, I feel panicked, I feel anxious, I feel depressed, I feel like I can't sleep, my heart is racing. All of those types of things, we can bring ourselves back to center with that breath. So hopefully some of those tools will be something you can carry outside of your practice. And then our asana practice, our postures. So Shivananda style focuses on a lot of the traditional postures. There are 12 main asanas in Shivananda style yoga, but we go outside of that, and I offer some creativity within those and even outside of those. But that is the basis of my style of teaching. So keep yourself safe. I can't be there to necessarily keep an eye on people in this platform, but I encourage you to keep yourself safe. So if you feel like something's going to go sideways, upside down, whatever, and it's not supposed to, please just know, feel it today, just dial back. You'll get there wherever you're imagining. But don't compare yourself to where you were at any point in time. And we're not comparing ourselves or, focusing on where we might be a few years from now. Where are you today? Your body's different every day. And all of our bodies are different. So we feel these poses differently in our bodies, even if we look the same as the next person doing them. So please honor that. So let's begin. We're going to start on our seat today. So I have some props. Again, I'm bringing this new class as if we have some new viewers. So I hope that you don't mind that little housekeeping bit in the beginning. So blocks can be a helpful tool, or something like blocks, a bolster, pillow, even a book. Sometimes we use them for balance or stability. Sometimes we use them to prop ourselves up. But those are a good idea. A strap or a belt, a scarf, some people use a TheraBand, a resistance band is also helpful. So if you need a moment to gather those, please take that time. We're going to start on our bottoms. So we'll bring this block under the sit bones. And again, this is a 45-minute practice. So if you're joining us for the first time, know that we'll be here till just a little bit before 1 o'clock. And thank you for joining me for this midday practice once again. So we'll lift the flesh out from underneath those sit bones, and you can root into this block. I like to use a block and kind of sit on the front edge of the block. It helps me to drop those knees down and open up the hips a little bit more. So perhaps that would feel good to you. Or just find a regular seat flat on your mat, and then we'll start to grow tall out of our hips, out of that seat. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Let's take a few breaths as we do this. Inhale up, exhale back and down. And we'll reverse the direction. So we inhale up, exhale forward and down. And release, shake out those shoulders. So we'll start with our centering posture here. So you can keep those legs bent if that feels good. If it doesn't, bring those legs out in front of you, or anything else that allows you to have a tall spine to begin. And so maybe we can switch these legs now. There's usually one leg that takes that spotlight when we find this cross-legged position. So maybe you bring the other one in front. We like to balance in yoga from side to side, bilateral movement, so that we aren't stronger on one side that creates compensation on the other. So always balancing here. All right, so we'll start by finding that tall spine again. Always come back to, can I lengthen the spine? And then start to notice the breath here. So you might place those hands on the knees. You could join the pointer finger and the thumb if you wish, and then just rest that palm down on the knees if you want to feel a bit more grounded. If you want to receive that universal energy, you might create a little vessel here by bringing those palms to face up, making a little bowl shape. You could close your eyes or just gaze down at the earth, or soften your gaze in some way. And draw your attention to your breath. And again, lengthen that spine. Draw the navel into the spine. And just let your breath flow freely here. Maybe you picture a pathway in your body That breath might be flowing to the top of your head. Notice a slight pause at the top of that breath, and then let it travel down to the base of the spine. Noticing another pause there before it turns into the next round of breath. Maybe that breath makes an orbit or a circle in your body. However you envision that breath, draw your attention to that path now. Can you lengthen or deepen that breath even more? And I invite you to set an intention for your practice. So intention setting is something I offer in each of our practices. It's an opportunity for you to find a focus, or at least a place where you might want to make some peace with yourself during your practice. It might just be to get through this practice. That is good enough. To stay open, to stay flexible, whatever. It can be something very specific or something very general. So you can set that intention now. You don't have to set an intention, but it's an opportunity. Take one more round of breath, letting that intention set in. And then we'll begin with our first pranayama, our first mindful breathing exercise. You can keep those eyes closed if you wish, and just use my voice as a guide. So we'll place one hand on the belly and the other hand on top of that on the belly. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down. Again, maybe you broaden those elbows, bring them out to the sides, find a tall spine. And we'll move into our equal breath, or samavriti in Sanskrit. So take a big breath in. Maybe you take it in for 8 or 10 or even 12 counts, all the way to the top. And then let it go for the same number of counts. In through the nose, out through the nose. Fill up those lungs. And if you get to the top and you wish to go farther with that count, keep it going. Fill it a little bit more. And then press it out all the way down to the bottom, and then press it out more and finish that count. Take one more round of samavriti. And then we'll gently bring those hands to heart center, palms kiss. Start to rub those hands together gently, feeling the energy between those hands, starting to create some heat. And then we'll bring those warm hands to cup over the closed eyes. Feel those hands touching the face. Start to open those eyes, readjusting to the light of your space. And then gently let those hands drop away. And we can remove that block. So if you're using that block, we'll take it away now. We'll begin to warm up the spine. So one more quick note. I mentioned this is a slow flow class. So we're going to flow, hopefully fairly seamlessly, or flow gently between each pose. And I also, in our slow flow classes, like to add a little bit more core work. So you can expect that in between some of those poses or within some of those poses. All right, so we'll start here by making some circles with the hips. Just notice how that feels for the lower back or the hips as you move around. Try to keep those knees anchored. Notice what those limitations are there. Take your breath in as you come around the back and exhale to the front. And then we'll reverse the direction. So inhale back, exhale forward. Last round here, and then we'll come all the way up to the center. Bring those arms up, inhale, wiggle the fingers, let's rotate through those wrists. One more breath in, and then drop those shoulders down as you exhale. Take another breath in, and we're going to reach for that left wrist with the right hand and draw ourselves over towards the right. So allow that left hand to reach up and gently bring it over with the right hand so that right arm can be bent. And try to keep those sit bones on the earth. So we're not leaning over and letting the glutes come off the earth. Keep those anchored. And notice if you find that long, that strength, that length through the left side. Next breath in takes us back up. And then we hook that other wrist and exhale to the other side. So reach that right hand up, reach through the fingers, reach for the place where the corner where the ceiling meets the wall. Exhale, take it a little deeper. Root through those sit bones. Back to center. Inhale. And exhale, let's slowly fold forward. You can always use a block to land on here. And just let those hands fall wherever they may. And then in your next round of breath, you might creep them out more as you reach the crown of the head forward. Keep that gaze ahead of the hands. This isn't about how deeply you can get that head down. It's about lengthening the spine. So I'm reaching the crown of the head in one direction, rooting the tailbone in the other. And then when I find that length, I can start to fold. Keep those sit bones on the earth. And notice how far you might go from this cross-legged position. And it's not a competition. It's never a comparison. It's just a warm-up of the spine. Inhale, take it back up. And we're going to float those arms down. Let's take those legs to cross in the opposite direction. We'll take that forward fold again. So inhale up. Exhale, let's release. Take another breath in, reach the crown of the head up. Root the tailbone back. And let it go, bringing that chest down a little bit more. Just tucking that chin slightly so we have a neutral neck. You might be looking right between the hands. Take it up again on an in-breath. This time we're going to rotate through the shoulders, sweep those arms around. Plant the fingers to face the glutes. Press into the heels of the hands. Open the heart on your next inhale. And exhale, release. Take those arms up again. Keep rotating through the shoulders. Press the heels into the earth and open the heart. And release. Let's switch the cross of the legs again. And we'll take those arms up on another inhalation. Circle the arms back, fingers towards the glutes. Press the heels of the hands into the earth. Open the heart. Breathe in. And release. Reach those arms up again. Circle through the shoulders, fingers towards the glutes. Press the heels of the hands into the earth and breathe in. Reach that heart up to the sky. And let it go. We'll take those arms up again. And then exhale. This time we twist. So you bring that left hand to the right knee, and that other hand can go behind you in sort of a kickstand place, a second spine, some say. You could place your hand on a block, or just place it on the earth. If those fingers are touching but not the palm, that's okay too. Take another breath in as you grow even taller. Exhale, deepen this twist. Think about initiating that twist from the base of the spine and taking that head around last. And then we'll take this back arm across to the opposite knee and reach to the outside of those knees. Really bring those hands to the outside and then try to draw those knees down. So finding a bit of stretch across the upper back perhaps. Maybe you're even feeling it in the glutes or in those hips. Release the knees and we'll take those hands either to opposite shoulders or twist up those arms into eagle arms. So there's a pose called eagle. We may try it later or in another class. And this is the arm portion of it. So from here we take an inhale, drawing those hands up to the sky. Exhale, press those elbows away. Notice that deep stretch through the upper back. Take a few breaths here. You know, many people carry stress and tension in their shoulders. This is a place that many are feeling it now because they've been shoveling or lifting for various reasons. So just take a moment here to notice that tension you might be holding and start to release. So inhale again, find a taller spine. Exhale, move those elbows away. Next breath in, lifts those arms up. And then exhale, slowly release. Inhale, take it up. And exhale, we're going to twist to the other side. Let that hand land on the knee. Another breath in, takes that spine really long. And exhale, twist. Take another breath here. And deepen the twist. And then bring that back arm around to the knee. And we'll reach for the outside of that knee again and try to draw those knees down. It's sort of an isometric movement here. I'm feeling it in the hips. We release those knees and cross the opposite way. So you could just take the shoulders, and even when we bring those elbows up, you can do that from hands on the shoulders or draw them away. You don't have to twist all the way into eagle arms in order to get that additional stretch across the upper back. If you go here, take those arms up to the sky, those hands up to the sky, and then press those elbows away. One more breath in, and slowly release. Take the arms up again, and we'll float them all the way down. So we try to take a warm-up of the spine with each practice. Our spine can move in 7 different ways. We can extend it, or I should say it this way, it's not just up, it's extending it. We can twist each way, we can bend laterally each way, and we can fold forward and backward. So we've done that. So expect that in some way to warm up for each practice. Let's take ourselves onto our knees. Hands and knees here in tabletop. If you need to find extra padding here under your knees, maybe you double up the mat, or you use a blanket, or some people have specific yoga pads they put under the knees. So take a moment to find that. And then we spread those fingers out. Bring those hands right under the shoulders. So check first that they're not out here, right under the shoulders. Press those hands into the earth, and you might even notice the elbows, the inside of the elbow, the eyes of the elbows turning in towards each other. And then notice if those hips are right over the knees. Draw the navel into the spine, and then release that back to be a neutral spine. We'll move into our cat-cow stretches here, continuing to flex and extend that spine. Breathe in, bring that gaze up. Exhale, tuck the tailbone and the chin. Take it up again. And all the way down. Move at your own pace here in cat-cow. You might look towards one hip and the other, or circle those hips in both directions. Be mindful of those knees. And and then come back to center, and we'll move into our next pranayama. This is our square breath in cat-cow. So we'll take a 4-count inhalation as we dip into cow. We'll hold the pose and the breath for 4 counts. Exhale as we move the spine to the sky in cat. And then we hold, we hold there with the breath out. So I'll walk you through it. Inhale, dip that belly down, raise the gaze. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the pose, hold the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, bring that spine up to the sky. 4, 3, 2, 1. And remain here with the breath out. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, dip down. 3, 2, 1. Hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, draw the navel in. 3, 2, 1. And remain here. The breath is out. 3, 2, 1. Move at your own pace through this square breath and cat-cow. We say to hold that last bit with the breath out because we're not holding the breath. The breath is already out. We're just holding that position where there is no breath to be held, if that makes sense. And all of this breath goes in through the nose and out through the nose whenever possible, unless otherwise indicated. Take one more round here. And then we'll just move back to a child's pose. You can widen those knees, draw those hips back to the heels, the big toes can touch. You can also keep the knees together and bring those hips back to the heels. So if you feel limitations here in child's pose, please listen to that. You can always take a block underneath, between the thighs and the calves if you want. But use your breath to see if you can go deeper. I've been working through a knee injury and I had some fear moving into child's pose. And I noticed that when I moved into it with my breath, it felt much better and it helped me to ease that tension that was mostly coming from my mind. So notice where you can go, again, staying respectful of the body and its current limitations, but knowing that that breath can be very powerful in helping us to go deeper. And if you want to roll those wrists around, maybe that was a lot to be on hands and knees, just take a moment here to roll those wrists. And then we stretch those arms forward, reach those fingers out. Notice that stretch through the shoulders, through the lats. Breath in. Exhale, let's walk those hands over to the right, bringing that left hand on top of the right or slightly beyond. Draw that left hip down. Inhale, walk it back through center, and then exhale it over to the left. Right hand comes on top of the left or just beyond. Draw that right hip back to the heel. Breathe. Inhale back to center. And exhale, this time we draw that left arm underneath the right. We're threading the needle. So if you need a block under the head, take a moment there. Draw that left shoulder down to the earth. So there's a little bit of a twist here. So notice this long line between my fingertips on the right hand and my hips or my glutes. And again, you can draw those hips farther back to the heels. Take the side of that head down to the earth. Keep wrapping that left shoulder down. Another option is to bring this right arm behind the back to get a shoulder and a chest stretch on the right. So you decide what's best for you here. Next breath in, we take both arms back to the center. And exhale, thread that right arm through underneath the left. Drawing that right shoulder down, right side of the head rests. Left arm reaches out, or maybe you scoop it behind the back if you want to deepen that stretch. Breathe here. Inhale, take that left arm back out, take the right arm out. And then we come back up to those hands and knees. Readjust, realign. We'll take that right leg out, press through that heel. Starting to pulse, stretching that calf and the bottom of the foot. And then we bring that leg up, wrap that right hip down so that if you had a headlight on your hip, it's pointing straight down instead of letting that hip fly up. And then you might reach that left arm out to balance. Reach through fingers, press through the heel. You could bring that left bicep all the way to the ear, really stretching through the shoulder, toning the upper back. Draw the navel in, breathe in, get long. Exhale, take that elbow to the knee. And again, extend, moving through these crunches here. That elbow doesn't have to touch the knee, but we draw it in that direction. We draw them towards each other. And again, if you have any limitations, honor where you are. A few months ago, I could not bring my knee to my elbow, and I breathed through it. And we're here today. We don't know where we'll be tomorrow, but we're here today appreciating. Take one more. Breathe in here, gaze is to the top of the mat. Reach through fingers and those toes, or you could flex the foot, reach through the heel. And then exhale, draw that left arm out to the side, right leg out to the side, lifting with that right hip. One more breath in, and then bring it back to the center and tuck it all the way back down. Catch your breath. Whew. And then we extend that left leg, so just keeping those toes tucked, pressing through that heel. And then start to lift that leg, wrap the left hip down. Reach through that right arm, find balance here. Press into that left hand. The gaze is towards the top of the mat. Find length as you reach through those fingers, press through the heel, breath in, and then exhale, draw it into the center. Take a few crunches here, take your time. Move slowly and with control. Stretch it out, breath in. And then exhale, draw left leg out to the side, right arm out to the side. Strength through the shoulder and the hip. One more breath in. Take it back to center and all the way down. We'll walk those hands out a little bit ahead of the shoulders. Plant them firmly, again, spreading out those fingers, tuck the toes, and we lift those hips up slowly into our first downward facing dog. Press those heels back. They don't have to touch the mat, but we draw them in that direction. And you might step those feet closer to the hands, noticing how that changes the position of the heels. You might go up onto the toes or dip the knees down. You might shift those heels back and forth. Just play here. Explore this posture. How do you relate to downward facing dog today? Send that heart back to the thighs. Get a deeper stretch through the shoulders. Pull the navel into the spine. Take a look at that imaginary line between the knees. And breathe. We go up onto the toes and we ripple forward. Find your version of plank. Maybe you land in that high plank. Those wrists are right under the elbows and the shoulders. Long line between the head and the heels. Maybe you're on forearms. Maybe you've brought those knees down. If the knees are down, make sure they're behind the hips. Take a couple of breaths here in our plank pose. And no matter where you are, whether it's forearms, knees, high plank, you could join me in some knee taps. Again, this is just optional, but we find places to breathe as we work into those abdominals. Exhale as you drop that knee down. Inhale as you press that heel back. Keep pressing the floor away. Fill that space between the shoulder blades. One more on each side. Press into that plank, and we're going to lower down either knees, chest, chin, or we can shift forward and then lower through Chaturanga Dandasana, that reverse push-up. Take your time. Landing here on our bellies. You can put the tops of the feet on the earth. Inhale, lift into cobra. Those elbows are tucked into the sides. Exhale, release. And we tuck the toes and send those hips back up to downward facing dog. Let's bring those knees wide, big toes together, and pause here in a child's pose, drawing those hips back to the heels. Check in. How are you doing with your intention? Again, if this is your first time doing yoga, this is quite intense. So I hope you're listening to your body, taking the breaks as needed. All of these videos, all of these practices will be archived, so you can go back and re-watch, practice anytime. Notice how you've changed, improved, been patient with yourself. Come back to that downward facing dog. So those hands are ahead of the shoulders. We tuck the toes, send those hips back up. Press the heart to the thighs. And then we're going to bend the knees and start to walk those feet up towards the hands. Once you arrive here, try to find a place where you can let those feet be flat and those hands can still be flat. So maybe those feet are way back here and the hands are here, and it's like the world's most narrow downward facing dog. So where can you find the place that you can take those feet up the deepest and still have those hands flat on the earth? So just notice there. Again, this is not a competition, so go wherever you feel the best. So once you arrive there, start to put a little bit more weight into those hands. Wrists are over, elbows, shoulders are over the wrists. Press those heels down. Notice that stretch through the legs. Press into the hands. Where are you feeling it? Shoulders, legs, abs. My abdominals are very engaged here. This is actually a preparation for a handstand, which we're not going to do today. Probably not in any of our classes, but it's a movement in that direction. Let's release. Slowly roll up. Always opportunities to go deeper, but certainly not forcing anybody. To be honest, I don't even do handstands unless it's against a wall. I'm not there yet. Roll those shoulders back. Allow those hands to open. Find our mountain pose. This is a common pose that we find as a resting posture in our practice. Palms are open. Shoulders roll up, down, and back. Draw the navel into the spine. Tuck the hips. Chin is parallel to the earth. You might close your eyes. Notice your breath. Maybe you notice your heartbeat. And we'll move into our next pranayama, our next mindful breathing exercise. Hands to the belly. We'll try waterfall breath. So in your next inhalation, take that breath all the way up. Fill the lungs. Imagine that you're at the top of a beautiful waterfall. As you exhale, let that breath cascade over the falls in free, smooth parts. Inhale deeply, fill the lungs. Exhale, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Take it at your pace, inhaling deeply. Exhale completely. One more round of waterfall breath. And we release. And we'll move into our next, our balance posture here. All right, so root through those feet. We're going to start on that right foot, rooting it into the earth, bringing that left knee up, and just lifting that knee up. I'm going to turn to the side here so you can see. So lifting that knee up. And we'll bring those arms up to the sky. That could be one way that you balance. You could bring them out to the side. I have not allowed myself much space. Or you could bring them to heart center. Drawing that knee up, that leg could be straight out, the foot could be flexed. Maybe you want to bring that knee way up or extend that leg. But finding kind of a counterbalance here with this leg hanging out. Draw the navel into the spine. Find lightness in your body. Imagine a string pulling up to the sky and roots coming out of the base foot. The arch of that base foot is rooted in the earth. One more breath in. Exhale, release, shake out those legs. We'll take it to the other side, rooting through that left foot, my right. Turn the other way. When you're ready, and find your steady gazing point too for balance. Bring that other leg up, and you might bring it out. You might bring it all the way up. How do you want to challenge yourself today? Maybe this is where you find your edge. Maybe for half of a breath. And then you say, that's a lot. I'm going to dial it back. Find length. Find lightness in the body. One more breath in. And we release. Find yourself at the top of your mat. You can always use a wall or a chair for that as well. Take those arms up. Big breath in. Exhale, send it out. Fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, release. Plant those hands. We're going to step back into that plank once again. Press the floor away, breath in. And then exhale, lower either knees, chest, chin, or that reverse push-up. Inhale, up into cobra. Exhale, release. And then press back into your child's pose. You can keep those knees together. You can widen those knees and sink those hips back. Notice if they feel like they're going deeper than they have before. Mine definitely do. They've been warmed up and breathing more deeply into this posture. One more breath here. And then we extend onto the belly. Make your way onto your back. Once you arrive, draw those knees into the chest. You can rock back and forth, massaging that lower back. So many things I want to show you and guide you to in these practices. This first one I found a little bit more time in the beginning to talk. So we'll now wrap up with our cool down here. One more pranayama. Let those knees drop to the right. You could support those knees with a block in between or under the knees. Reach those arms out into a T, and you might take your gaze away from those knees. Keep those shoulder blades rooted on the earth. Notice that big stretch through the torso, the hip, the lower back. Next breath in takes those knees to center. And then we exhale them over to the left. Look over the right fingertips. In those knees together. Again, give yourself support with a block under or between. Take it back to center. Give those knees a hug. Bring the chin up. And then we'll drop those feet down and let those knees go wide. So the soles of the feet are kissing here. We bring those arms back out into a T. Take a breath in. And let it go. I invite you to place one hand on the belly, the other hand either on the ribs or the chest. Moving into our our last pranayama. This is our fourth pranayama. It's our three-part breath, our three-part complete breath, Durga. Next breath in, notice the belly rises, and then that rib cage expands, and the chest goes up. As you exhale, that belly goes down, the rib cage closes, and the chest lowers. Inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, belly, ribs, chest. Take it at your pace. If you happen to notice the order of that breath is different in your body, that's okay. Just let it be in three parts in some way. Take one more round of breath. Let it go. Take any other stretches, movements, postures that you would like to complete your practice, maybe a full body stretch, and then find your final relaxation pose in Shavasana. If you ever want to take this final pose beyond the close of our practice, please allow yourself as much time as you need to let everything integrate in your space. begin to bring your attention back to this space. Wiggle fingers and toes. You might rub those fingers against the thumb. Take another stretch. Maybe pulling those knees into the chest. Give them a hug. Make your way to one side of your mat. Rest your head. Take a breath. And when you're ready, we press up to seated where we began. You can keep those eyes closed. I invite you to bring hands to heart center. Let the base of the thumbs touch the chest. Each finger presses into that on the other hand. You might bow slightly towards those fingers. No matter where you are on your journey in this week, year, or lifetime, I thank you for pausing today to share this practice with me. The light, love, and peace in me recognizes and honors the light, love, and peace in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming to your mat. Hopefully you feel rejuvenated for an afternoon of productivity or maybe more rest. Thank you for joining me. This is about what you can expect. We might do a little bit more core work. I talked a little bit more today in the beginning, but definitely the pranayama, and more of a gradual easing into our cool down. Maybe that felt sudden for you to be up and then back down immediately on the mat. So just know that that was our first class, kind of a general taste for what you can expect in our slow flow on Tuesday. So thank you for being here. If you have any questions or requests, please send me a message and we'll see if we can meet those requests in our next class. See you Thursday morning, 9 o'clock for Yoga Zone. We have a fun topic this week. I'll let it be a mystery. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.